So the next question is explain how you got your answer. So you can just explain in your own words, like I added 7 to get the next term. That should be good enough. And then the 4b, this next question is work out the 10th term. So you can just keep on adding 7 to get to the 10th term, because 30 was the 5th term, right? And so you add 7 to 30 to get the 6th term, 37. And so you keep on adding 7, and the 10th term is going to be 65. So we are done with this page. Let's move on. Right, so here are 4 digits, and it says use 3 of these digits to write down the largest possible 3-digit number. Well, so it has to be a 3-digit number, and it has to be the largest possible number. So it looks like 9 is the largest number here, largest digit. So if you start with 9 and then put 7 and 4, so 974 must be the largest 3-digit number that you could get by combining any 3 numbers from these digits. All right, let's see. Here we have 4 digits, 8, 2, 1, and 6, and it says put one of these digits in each box to give you the smallest possible answer to the sum. Well, so you now need the smallest possible sum. So you would have to start off with the smallest digits. So the smallest digits are 1 and 2. So you could put 1 here and 2 here, and then you could put 6 here maybe, and 8 here. That would give you the smallest possible sum. Or you could also have done 18 plus 26. All right, either this or that. All right, and then now let's see, number 6. Write down all the factors of 30. Well, so factors of 30, you start listing them. So it could be 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. Do we have any more? No. So these are the 8 factors of 30. All right. Okay, now here we have another question that says David has twice as many cousins as Becky. Becky has twice as many cousins as Nishat. Nishat has 6 cousins. Okay, so Nishat has 6 cousins. Becky has twice as many as Nishat. So maybe Becky has 12 then. And then David has twice as many as Becky. So if Becky has 12, David has 24. So there you go. That's your answer. 24. All right, next we have this. Find the value of that. Well, so because this is a calculator paper, you can use your calculator. You first multiply these two, and you take the square root of the result. So that should give you 2.28. So this is just a calculator question. And part B, again, you can use your calculator. you first subtract, you do whatever is inside the parentheses or brackets first, and then after you subtract this, you have to square the result, and then you have to take away 4.096 from that, and that should give you 2.5604. Now, all right, now we have this question here about a bus timetable. So these are the times the buses leave these stations, and we need to find out how many minutes should the 8:25 bus take to go from Bury to Manchester. All right, so the 8:25 bus is right here. So it leaves at 8:25. It goes to Whitefield, and then this station, Heaton Park and Cheetham, and then finally it comes to Manchester at 9:05. So that means so from 8:25 to 9 a.m. that is 35 minutes, and then another 5 minutes, so 35 plus 5, that should be 40 minutes that it takes to reach Manchester. All right, next question. Let's first read this. Okay. Right, so he leaves the house at 8:45 a.m. and it takes him 17 minutes to get to the bus stop. So that means he will reach the bus stop at 9:02. If you add 17 to 45, that's like you're going to reach at 9:02. And then so when he reaches the bus stop at Whitefield at 9:02, so then he would be able to catch the bus at 9:04 from Whitefield. And then he was going to arrive at Manchester at 9:35. So that means that if he arrives at 9:35 at the bus stop at Manchester, then how long does he take to get to work from the bus stop? Let's see. He takes 15 minutes, all right, to get from the bus stop to work. So if he reaches at 9:35, so he's going to take another 15 minutes to walk to his workplace. So that is 9:50. He's going to reach his workplace at 9:50. So yes, he will be able to get to work by 10 a.m. because he's going to be actually 10 minutes early. Okay, that's done. Now, here's the next question. This is about a person working in a restaurant, and so this is the rate of pay, and in the weekend the rate of pay is higher. So she works for a total of 20 hours, and 8 of these 20 hours are at the weekend, so that means you need to multiply that by 8, and so she must have worked the remaining hours during the week. So the remaining hours is 12. So that should be times 12. That should be the pay during the week from Monday to Friday. And then, so now if you do this calculation, how much is her pay for the week? So we need to do 840 times 12, and then for the weekends it's 1120 times 8 hours of work during the weekend. And if you can do that on your calculator, you're going to get 190.40. So yes, this is a pay that is less than 200. So yeah, that's the answer. Here's the next question. This is about tickets for a football club. All right. So last year, the season ticket costed £560. This year, the cost has increased to £600. Write down the increase in the cost as a fraction of last year's cost. So first, let's find how much was the increase. Increase is 600, take away 560, so that is £40 increase. And so as a fraction, it's going to be 40 over last year's cost. Last year's cost was 560. So now let's simplify this. Let us divide by 40 and we'll get to a more simpler fraction. So that will be 1 over 14. So 1/14 is the answer. All right, now we have this tennis court, and it says that the scale of the drawing is 1 to 200. Work out the perimeter of the real tennis court. Okay, well, so for this you need to take a ruler and then measure what this length is. So you take your ruler and measure that. It's going to be something like 11.5 centimeters, and the width of this rectangle will be around 5.8. So you might get a different number, but it's going to be close to 11.5 and 5.8 centimeters. Okay, so work out the perimeter. Now, what is a perimeter? Perimeter is the sum of all sides, right? So let's see, is going to be 11.5 and then 0.8 plus another 11.5 and another 5.8. So when you add them all, four sides together, it's going to be 34.6 centimeters. So this is the perimeter of the drawing. All right, but we need to find the actual perimeter of the real tennis court. Now, because the scale is 1 to 200, So the actual perimeter will be 34.6 centimeters times 200. So in real life, the actual perimeter is going to be 6,920 centimeters. But we need to give our answer in meters. So how do you convert centimeters to meters? We know that 100 centimeters equal to 1 meter. So we need to divide this by 100. Divide this by 100. So that will give you 69.2 meters. Okay, next. There are 6 straight line graphs here. So the first 3, A, B, C, can be seen, and then D, E, F. These are the 6 graphs. Now we need to match each equation in the table to the correct graph. Now y equal to 2. Let's see. So we need to find the straight line that represents y equal to 2. So this is the y-axis, and we can see a line right here at 2. So graph D must be the graph for y equal to 2. So we can write D here. And then next equation is y equal to x. So that means this is going to be a straight line where the x and y values are the same. So if we take a look at this point on the graph here, this point is 0 and 2. So this is not, like, the x and y values are not equal. So this cannot be the equation of the line y equal to x. Now, if you take a look at this line, let's take a point on this line. Here, this is the origin, so this line passes through the origin, which means this line has a point of 0, 0, and that means that y is equal to x for this point. Let's check for another point. Let's take a point up here on the line. So again, this is a point where y is 2 and x is 2, and both y and x are equal. So I think definitely graph D is the equation, is the graph for y equal to x. Next, x plus y equal to 2. So we need to look for a graph where the x and y values added will give us 2. Okay, how about this graph then? Let's see. Well, this is a point 0, 2, and yes, 0 plus 2 is definitely 2, but we need to check with some other point. Let's check with this point. This is a point -2 and 0. Now when I add -2 with 0, I don't get 2, I get -2. So graph E is not the graph that we're looking for. Let's check. Here, well, this is the point 0, 0. So 0 plus 0 is 0. It's not going to give us 2. We need the x and y values to add up to 2. Here, this is definitely not the equation, because this is x equal to 2 only. So let's check this. This is a point on this line, and that is 0, 2. So this works. 0 plus 2 is 2. So let's check for another point. This point is 2, 0. So yes, 2 plus 0 equals to 2. So definitely graph A represents x plus y equal to 2. So this is graph A. All right, next. So this is about stem and leaf diagram. Okay, so this you need to do very carefully, and you just make sure you write the numbers and you cross out the numbers that you have written. So it looks like, so we need to look for the lowest number. Lowest number is, I think, 64. And the highest number will be, I guess, 94 is the highest. Right, so the stem and leaf diagram will have to start from 6 and then 7, 8, and 9. All right, so we have to start off with the numbers in the 60s. So we have 64, that's the smallest, 67, 69. Do we have anything else in the 60s? Yes, we actually have two 69s. So we need to make sure we put that down very carefully. We have 64, 67, and then we have two 69s. Next, let us look for the numbers in the 70s. Well, we have 70, and we actually have two 70s. So let's put that down. We have two 70s, and then 76, 75, 76, we have two of them, 71, so this will go next, and we also have 77. So let us put those down. We have 71, 75, and I think we have 276 here. 1, 2. So we need to put two 6s here. And lastly, we have a 77. Next, we need to go to the numbers in the 80s. Here we have quite a few numbers in the 80s. So we have to start off with 80, 81. Oh, we actually have two 80s, two 81s, 82, 84, and 87. Two 80s, 81, we have two 81s actually, and then 82, 84, and 87. Okay, then the numbers in the 90s. So we've marked all of these. We're just left with 91 and 94. So these are the two numbers left in the 90s, 91 and 94. So there is the stem and leaf diagram is done. Right. Now, one of these students is going to be chosen at random. The pass mark is 71. Okay, so this is the pass mark at 71. The probability that the student failed is 1/4. Okay, so a person will fail if he gets a mark less than 71. So either 70 or any of these numbers in the 60s. So there's actually 6 students who scored less than 71. All right, so the probability will be 6 out of the total number. Now the total number of students is 20. So the probability that the student has failed is 6 over 20. And 6 over 20, if you simplify by dividing by 2, you get 310. And there's no way that you're going to get 1/4 by simplifying 6 over 20. So yes, that is why Omar is wrong. So you can explain by saying that 6 students had failed. So probability is 6 out of 20, and 6 out of 20 is not equal to 1/4. Yeah, that should be a good answer. All right, let's check this now. So what did she do wrong? Now, if you remember BIDMAS is so subtraction, S comes at the very end. So I think she should have done the multiplication first, but she subtracted first, and then she got 10, and then she multiplied by 4. So that is what was wrong. So you can say that Jenny did the subtraction before multiplication. She should have multiplied first. So she should have done 12 minus 8. And the answer should be 4. And then we have another. Now, range. Now, what is range? Range is the biggest number take away the smallest number. That is how you find range. Big take away small. So the biggest number here is 8. So it should be 8. Take away the smallest number, 1. So the range must be 7, not 5 minus 3, 2. Right, that is what was wrong in this question. All right, now we have number 16. Okay, so these three people share a sum of money. Alan gets 1/8, Bispa gets half of the money, and then Chan gets the rest. So Alan gets 250. Right. Now, if Alan gets 250, now how do we figure out how much Bispa gets? So now if you think about the equivalent fraction, now half is the same as 4/8. Like if you multiply both the numerator and denominator by 4, 4/8 is an equivalent fraction to half. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I need to get the same denominator as Alan. So that will help me compare how much money Bispa is going to get. So Alan gets 1/8 and Bispa gets 4/8. So that means he must have gotten 250 times 4, which is 10 pounds. Work out how much money Bispa gets. Yes, so this is the amount of money that Bispa is going to get. And then find the ratio of the amount of money Alan gets to the amount of money Chan gets. All right, now we need to figure out how much did Chan get? Well, Chan gets the rest of the money. So it looks like Alan gets 1/8, Bispa gets 4/8. So the remaining fraction, 1/8 and then 4/8, is equal to 5/8. So Chan must have received 3/8 of the money. So this is Alan's fraction and this is Chan's fraction. So Alan to Chan is 1/8 to 3/8. All right, so that in whole numbers, if we multiply by 8 both sides, then we get 1 to 3. So that is the ratio of Alan to Chan, 1 to 3. Okay, next we have this question here. We have an isosceles right triangle and the area is given. So area of a triangle is half base times height. Area is half base times height. So the area given is 162. That is equal to half times the base. So this is going to be the base and this is going to be the height. So half base times height is 3x as well. Now we need to figure out how to get to x. So 162. Now if you multiply 3x times 3x, that is 9x squared. And you have the 2 here. All right, so next what we can do is let's multiply by 2 on both sides. That will get rid of this 2 here. So we'll get 9x squared on the right side, and on this side we're going to get 324. And then next, let's divide both sides by 9. And so that will give us how much is 324 divided by 9? So you can use your calculator. 324 divided by 9 is 36. So now you just need to take the square root on both sides. That will give you your value for x. So x will be 6. And that is your answer. Okay, and then here we have another question that this involves the use of calculator. So you multiply the top two numbers, and then you multiply the bottom two numbers, and then you have to divide the top product by the bottom product. And you are going to get something like this: 2, 3, followed by 5 zeros. Now in standard form, that is going to be 2.3 times 10 to the power something. Now, so if you say 2.3, that means that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits after the point, after the decimal. So it has to be 10 to the power 6. Okay, so now in the next question we have a scatter diagram. Right, and question says write down the type of correlation. So what you do is you take your ruler and try to draw the line of best fit. Using your ruler, try and draw a line, a straight line that sort of connects most of the points. So you'll get a line something close to this, and this shows that this is a negative correlation. If the line was like that, that is positive correlation, but when you have it the other way around, it's a negative correlation. So what type of correlation? You just write negative. Okay. All right, now here Christina is 11 years old. Her best time to run 100 meters is 12 seconds. The point representing this information would be an outlier on the scatter diagram. All right, let's see. So 12 seconds is her best time. And she is 11 years old. So you would need to plot her data at 11, and then 12 seconds is right here. So this is where you would need to plot Christina's data, and this is definitely nowhere close to the rest of the data. So that is why this is going to be called an outlier. So you could explain by saying that her point is far away from the line of best fit. And so that is why it's called an outlier. Next, Debbie is 15 years old. Debbie says the scatter diagram shows I should take less than 12 seconds to run 100 meters. Okay, so she's 15 years old. Let's try and figure out how much time a 15-year-old might take. So we have age in years. So this is 15. And well, it looks like there is no data that is close to 15 years. And so if you extend your line of best fit and you get to 15, that would be like an estimate, and that would not give you the real information. So this is an unreliable conclusion because you don't have any data for the 15 years old. So here we can say the line of best fit does not cover any data for 15-year-olds. So her conclusion is unreliable. All right. Okay, now let's see. The next question is expand and simplify. Right. So this should be quite easy. So you first multiply 5, and so you're going to get 5p plus 15, and then minus 2. And then here you need to be careful because you have two negatives, minus 2, and then you multiply by another negative 2p, so that will become positive. Two negatives become positive 4p. All right, and then you bring the like terms together, so 5p and 4p are like terms, and then 15 and 2 are the other two like terms, so this will be 9p plus 15 take away 2 is 13. So that's the answer. Okay, now we have a trapezium drawn on a centimeter grid. And let's see what they're saying. On the grid, draw a triangle equal in area to this trapezium. Okay, so you need to know how to calculate the area of a trapezium. So area of a trapezium is half A plus B times the height, where A and B are the two parallel sides. And the height has to be perpendicular height. So this has to be the height. So the height is 4 centimeters. A this side is 2 centimeters, and B this side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 centimeters. So that means the area of this trapezium is half 2 plus 7 times the height, which is 4. So that means this is going to be half times 9 times 4. So that will be half times 36. And so the area of the trapezium is 18. Now, if we need to draw a triangle with the same area, so area of the triangle is half base times height. So we need to figure out a base and height of a triangle that will give us an area of 18. So if area needs to be 18, and we also need to have a half here, so maybe let's say half of 36 is 18, so we need to get a product of 36 for the base and the height. So maybe now 36 you can get by multiplying 6 by 6. So a base of 6 and a height of 6 would actually work, and that would give us an area of 18. So a base of 6 units. So let's say we could draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, you need to use your ruler and draw straight lines. And then a height of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just connect. So this could be a triangle that has the same area of 18. Okay, now we have a probability question. So let's look at this carefully. Okay, so the probability that it will land on 4 is 0.65. Okay, so 0.65 land on 4, that's correct. And so the dice is thrown twice. So this is the first throw, and for the first throw, the numbers are, so if this is 0.65 to fall on a land that is not on 4, this probability needs to be 1 minus 0.65. And that is not 0.25. 1 minus 0.65 is 0.35. So this looks like a mistake. And the question is, write down 2 things that are wrong. So this is the first thing that is not correct. Now let's move on to the second throw. Well, the second throw, to land on 4, I think the probability was 0.65 to land on 4 according to the question. So this is also another mistake. This should be 0.65 and this should be 0.35. So this is another mistake. Let's come down. Yeah, these are fine. Right, so we've found the two mistakes. We just need to write them down nicely. So the first mistake is right here. So you can say that the probability of not landing at 4 for the first throw is wrong because 1 minus 0.65 is equal to 0.35, not 0.25. So this is the first mistake. And the second mistake is probability of landing on 4 for the second throw should be 0.65, not 0.35. Okay, so that's done. Next question, this is about a right angle triangle, and work out the size of angle ABC. So angle ABC is this angle, and we have the adjacent and hypotenuse. So this is the adjacent side to this angle, and this is the hypotenuse. So we need to use one of the trigonometric ratio. Now adjacent and hypotenuse corresponds to cos. So we need to use cos of the angle. So let's call this angle X. And so cos X is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that would be 7 over 11. And so X, the angle X, will be cos inverse of 7 by 11. And when you use your calculator to do that, you press shift and then cos, and within brackets do 7 divided by 11, and then you'll get this angle. Make sure your calculator is in the degree mode. So you'll get something like that, and it says you have to write the answer correct to 1 decimal place. So you need to put 1 digit after the decimal. So because the digit next to 4 is 7, you need to add 1 to 4. So this is your angle correct to 1 decimal place, 50.5 degrees. Now, here, the length of side AB is reduced by 1. The length of side BC is still 7. Will the value of cos ABC increase or decrease? Well, so the length of AB, now AB is the hypotenuse, so if that decreases to 10, so cos X will be 7 over 10 instead of 7 over 11. Now, what will that do to the value of cos ABC? So instead of 7 over 11, cos ABC will be 7 over 10. So that means cos ABC will actually be greater than what it was before, because 7 by 10 is greater than 7 by 11. So cos ABC will actually increase. All right, another question on probability. Now, there are 18 blue counters, so let's put a little 18 here. And it says that the probability that Bob takes red is twice the probability that the counter will be white. So the probability of this, let's call that X, and the probability of red will be twice that, so this will be 2x. All right, now work out the number of red counters in the bag. Okay, well, we know there are 18 blue counters, and the probability of getting a blue is 0.45. So let's say if the total number of counters is t, so 0.45 times t should be equal to 18, because the probability of blue is 0.45 and there are 18 blue counters. So first let's figure out what t is. So the total number of counters, t, will be 18 divided by 0.45, and that is 40. So there are 40 counters in total. Now we need to work out the number of red counters. Okay. Now, so if you look at the table here for the probability, these are the probability for each color. Now this, when you add them up, must be equal to 1. That is the basic rule about probability, that the total of probabilities should add up to 1. So we can use that information and then figure out a way to find x. So 2x plus x plus 0.45, these are the total of all the probability that should give us 1. Now let's try and find x from here. (0.45 plus 0.25 is 0.7. That equals to 1. Now if we take away 0.7 from both sides, then we get 3x equal to 0.30. And then if you divide by 3 on both sides, that will give you x equal to 0.1. Now, if x is 0.1, x is the probability of getting a white counter. The probability of getting red is 2x, which means it has to be twice this number. 2x will be 0.2. So this is the probability of red. Now 0.2 times the total number of counters, which is 40, will give us the actual number of red counters, which is 8. So the answer is 8 red counters. All right, next we have so the probability that the marble will be silver is 0.5. Now, there must be an even number of marbles in the box. Explain why. Well, if the probability is 0.5, which is half, that means that the total number of counters must be a number that is divisible by 2, which means it has to be an even number. So you can write that in your own words by saying that since the probability of is 0.5, the total number of marbles must be a number divisible by 2. So it has to be an even number. All right. Okay, now let's try and solve this. So the first step, whenever you have something in the denominator, the first step is to get rid of that by multiplying by the denominator on both sides. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, and that's because I want to get rid of this 2 and make my life easy. So this will be 5 minus x, and this times 2 will be 4x minus 7. And so next step will be to bring all the like terms together. So we can add x to both sides. So this is gone. We have 5 here, and on this side we have 5x. Oops, I guess I made a mistake here. This is supposed to be 14 because it's 7 times 2. Yeah, so that's 5x minus 14. Sorry. And next we can add 14 on both sides. So that's gone, and you have 19 here, and you have 5x on the right side. The next step would be to divide by 5, and then so x will be 19 divided by 5, and that's 3.8. 3.8 is your answer. And then here we have a pentagon. And we need to work out the size of angle BCD. So let's see. Angle BCD is this angle, and it says that BCD is twice the angle of ABC. So this one's ABC. Let's call that X. So this is going to be 2X. All right. Now the first step would be to find the sum of all 5 angles in a pentagon. So we use that equation which says that sum is n minus 2 times 180, where n is the number of sides. So in this case n is 5, so 5 minus 2 times 180. So that will be 3 times 180. And so the sum of all these angles is 540. So that would mean that if I add them, if I add 90 plus 115 plus 125 plus x plus 2x, that should also add up to 540. Now, so if I add these 3 together, I'm going to get 330 plus 3x equal to 540. And then if I take away 330 from both sides, so 3x will be 210, and then x will be 210 divided by 3, so x is 70. But we need angle BCD, so angle BCD is 2x, which means we need to multiply 70 by 2, so our answer should be 140. Okay, so here next we have 2 similar triangles. Now we know that the corresponding sides of similar triangles will have the same scale factor. So let's try and figure out the scale factor here. Okay, so this side is 8.4 and this side, which is the corresponding side to 8.4, is 12.6. So the scale factor will be 12.6 divided by 8.4, which is 1.5. All right, so that means from here to here, you need to multiply by 1.5. So we need to work out the length of DF. DF is this length here. So this side DF corresponds to this side, which is 6.4. So DF must be again 6.4 times 1.5. So DF will be 6.4 times 1.5, and that will give you 9.6 centimeters. And then we need to figure out the length of CB. All right, so CB is this one here, and the corresponding length in the other triangle is 15. So now we are going from here to here. So this time we need to divide by the scale factor. We need to divide by 1.5 to get to CB. So CB will be 15 divided by 1.5, and that will give you 10. All right, now here we need to make G the subject of the formula. Well, you have a square root here, so the first step would be to square both sides so that we can get rid of the square root. So you're going to get G plus 6 over 2 on your right side, and on the left side you'll get T square. And then you can multiply both sides by 2, all right, because we need to get rid of the denominator. So this will be 2t squared equal to G plus 6. And so G, if you take away 6 on both sides, that will do the trick, because you'll be getting G here isolated, and so that will make G the subject of the formula. So G is 2t squared minus 6. All right, so that was the last question. I hope everyone, you have benefited by looking through my video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. Thank you, everybody. You have a nice day. Bye.